All right, so we're going to take a look at this question because I think a lot of people are unclear about what's happening when you have that number out in front of the brackets and you use what's called the distributive property. Okay, so distribute means to hand out to everyone, right? You're distributing a product, you're sharing it out with everybody. Okay, so that's essentially what is happening. So here I am told that we have two h minus 5s. Okay, so I'm going to take one h minus 5 and put it here, and I can see my balance is off. I'm going to duplicate that. So now I have two h minus 5s. Okay, and if I look at that, what I've done is I've taken this, whoops, gotta need my pen tool, is I've taken this 2 and I've multiplied it. I've doubled the h's and I have doubled my negative 5. So I have 2h minus 10, okay, on that one side. So now I'm going to take a look at the other side, okay? And on the other side, I need h negative 4. So I'm just going to duplicate that. But it's not even because I have this negative 1 in front. So that negative 1 is saying I want the opposite of negative 4 plus h. So I'm going to go ahead and negate it. So I'm going to make what was positive negative and what was negative positive. And if you notice, now my scale is balanced. So really what I've done is I've gone to the opposite. So I've multiplied that negative 1 times negative 4, which gives me a positive 4, as we can see here. And I take that negative 1 and times it by h, which would give me a negative h, or in this case, x. Okay, so now I can go ahead and solve for this equation. Okay, so in order to solve for the equation, I need to all my variables on one side and my numbers on the other. And what you want to always try and do is make your x's positive at all if you can. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate this because I want to add the opposite. So I'm going to negate it. So I want the opposite. Okay, so I'm adding x to both sides. When I add something to one side of this scale, I have to add it to the other in order to keep it balanced. So here, if I add it to just one side, I can see that it's now not balanced. But if I add that same x to the other side, I now can see my balance is kept. Okay, so now I've dealt with my variables. So on this side, I have 3x. Okay, and now I want to get rid of my numbers. So these numbers here, I'm going to take those. Okay, I'm going to duplicate, and I want the opposite of them. Okay, so I'm going to put that down here for a second. I'm going to duplicate it because I need to add that to the other side. Okay, and when I do, I'm going to be putting it over top of these 4s. So I'm just going to move this like this so that when I put them on, they overlap. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and add to both sides. Okay, so I'm adding to this side here, and that's, oh no, it doesn't negate it because they're both positive. Never mind. Okay, so I'm adding it to both sides. On this side, everything zeroes out. Okay, now a few of my ones did not make it actually onto the scale. So I'm just going to move this whole bucket of stuff. Okay, and now I can see that it's balanced. All right. So on this side, I added 10 more to my already 4 that were there. So I now have it on this side. I now have a total of 14. Okay. And then at this point, it's not going to turn out as nicely because I can't evenly divide 14 into 3. But I would essentially want to group these into 3 groups. Okay, so the closest that I can get is evenly is 12. So I'm going to go ahead and move. I'm going to do 3 groups of 4. So 1, okay, 1 group of 4, 2 groups of 4, 3 groups of 4, and now I have these 2 left over. So with these 2 left over, I would have to take each of them and take this one and split it into 3. And take this one and split it into 3. So there's 1/3 of each of those. So then each grouping would get a 2/3. Okay, but for now, we're going to leave it like this. And I am going to, you're technically dividing, so you're grouping it into 3s. So I end up with x is equal to 14 divided by 3, or it's going to end up being x equal to 4 and 2/3. Each group is going to get 2/3. All right. Cool. I hope that helps.